Hey, 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 travel brats. It's Soph coming to you from the studio, and I am back with Miss Ella Parlor. Hey, Ella, how's it going?
So well, Sophia. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you again, too. And I want you to tell your second most memorable travel story for the brats. Let it rip.
I really appreciate the opportunity to share this just because I do hope to inspire anybody who might be able to relate to this aching, gnawing feeling that dating in their hometown is just for the birds.
Mm,
There's so much I love about being from Southern California. I grew up on the beach. I had just such a beautiful, fun, wonderful, cool life. I really did.
mm.
I had a cool childhood and upbringing, but as I became an adult and just really driven in my career and I'm traveling all the time and just trying to balance it all, dating, I really kept hitting a wall. And I always say like dating in Southern California had my hitting a wall, not finding, what I wanted, constantly feeling like I'm settling and then regretting that I settled in the first place. And so when I turned 30, I made the decision that I was going to move to a major metropolitan area and
Mm.
start anew. I was like, if I have to be single, I need to do it somewhere else.
Right.
I'm done with this place. And so I went and hopped around to different cities. I went to Miami and I had Bumble in hand. So imagine me going from airport to airport. What I would do is when I would land in the city and I'm visiting friends or whatever I was doing at that year, um, I would land at the airport and I would swipe on Bumble while waiting for my baggage at claim, and I would see how many matches I have. Now, yeah, so when I would land in Miami, I would have like 22 matches. And when I landed in New York, I had like 18 matches. I land in Chicago, I had like 12 matches. I land in DC, I have like 12 matches. I land home at LAX, I have like 22 matches. And
Huh?
when I landed at DFW, Dallas Fort Worth, and I'm
Ooh.
standing there at the check luggage, I had over 200 matches. And I was like, oh, this is home now. Like, I live here now. This is it. The odds are in my favor. Goodbye.
I'm dead. That's great. So
Yeah.
you like literally moved to Dallas.
So I go home and I tell my family. Now, there were some months in between, and there were,
Right.
obviously but skipping to the details, I go home and tell my family, I was like, I'm gonna move to Dallas. And they're like, are you getting a job out there? And I'm like, no. Do you have any friends out there? No. We don't have family out there. No. Do you know anybody out there? Not really.
What are you getting out there? I'm getting a husband.
I'm getting a husband. They thought I was having a mental breakdown. Like they had to have a conversation about whether or not they need to like institutionalize their daughter.
Intervention, sweetie.
Yeah. Like they were like, "What?" And I said, "Look, I've had a really awesome career, okay? I've always been able to find a job. You know what I haven't been able to find at 30? A husband. So I'm going to go do that."
I love this, right? I am loving every second of this. Oh
So I
man.
moved to Texas. Find a job in 2 months, okay? Like because I do. That's what I do. I can
Right.
work,
Right.
right?
Right.
But
Rat.
I, for the first time, love dating. I love dating. I love the culture out here. When you go out, like in Southern California, like they put the bill in the middle and you could just feel degraded and be like, let me pretend like I want to pay for this. I'm happy splitting the bill if it just gets rid of you. Like that's kind of my thought. It's like if we're splitting the bill, it's my goodbye, like departing. I don't need you to pay for my dinner. And it's certainly not for the first date if we meet online. But I'm saying like beyond that,
Yeah.
I think I just have certain traditional values when it comes to
Yeah.
dating and delivery.
Hmm.
And I think it's a balance, when you're in a more liberated market like Southern California where everybody's open-minded and they're just very free and freedom of expression and super creative, like there's a lot of beauty to that. But I
Mm.
think in Southern California, and this might be a little controversial to say, but I'm going to call it what it is, the gender lines get really bent. It's very fluid, and that's beautiful. It's very inclusive, and I love that. Again, love the inclusivity. Like I really do. And I love how fluid it is, and I love how free people are. But I just, and I think that there's a cultural like kind of shift there because I think it's hard to be a man in California. I think that you're kind of caught in between being sensitive and being inclusive and being open to your gay friends and all these things, but then also like when to show masculinity, and there's a
Mm,
lot more feminist ideals out there. So I don't want
yeah.
to put all of the blame on men, but from a cultural standpoint, I just kept hitting a wall where I was like, I don't want to be in my masculine energy anymore. I really want to lean into the
Mm,
feminine. And the fact that my Bumble was blowing up with all of these messages of men who didn't want to talk, they wanted to take me out. Like they're literally their first DM is, where can I take you out?
I
Like,
love
where
it.
are we going? You know?
Yeah.
And just the straightforwardness, the marital values, like I think because housing is more affordable here, the men they're sitting in their empty house that they own and that they bought because it's affordable. Meanwhile, the
Hmm.
guys, their counterparts in LA are like all sharing a house and a couch with like three dudes or four dudes because
Right.
it's so expensive to live out there. So these guys aren't thinking about buying a home or having a wife and kids. But when you're a man and you bought your house and you're living by yourself, what do you think to yourself? You're like, I gotta
I need
fill
a
this
wife.
house with something.
I need
I
a
got
wife. I need
either
me a
furniture,
wife.
furniture or babies or something. Like, and so culturally, it's just more of a, and there are Christian, I think, values that go into that too. We are in the Bible Belt. I'd be
Hmm.
erroneous to negate that piece, but it's just so more up my alley of what I want. And while I'm not married, I just have so much hope that I'm closer than ever to meeting my husband, and that hope money cannot buy. I
No.
can say that like
Mm.
what I've always wanted is a family. And I feel compelled to be honest about that because I think a lot of people look at me and they're like, "Oh, she's a business owner, she's a real estate investor, she's a marketing executive, she does X, Y, and Z and all these meetings and blah blah blah." And I think a lot of people look at that and go, "Oh yeah, she's a badass," or she wants to be a boss. And it's like, I never wanted to be working this hard, you guys. Like, I just wanted to be a wife, but
Well,
I just kept going.
well, and it's like, well, because you're a hard worker and you've got good ethics, and it's like not like every woman that has worked hard or like owned a business or anything, A B C D E F G, whatever, A B C D E F G. Just kidding. That not like you can't also want to be a mom and a wife, and that's like so fine, especially like I think in some of these places like California, which again, I like California. I'm just saying that different opinions where it's like, um, it's not wrong to want to be a mom and it's not wrong to want to find a partner to spend your life with, find a husband. Like it's not like those things aren't wrong where I feel like so much if you're like a woman, like kind of large and in charge and working hard and traveling and has a great career, it's not like, hey, that doesn't mean I can't have both. I just, it's
Sometimes
funny.
sometimes I wonder, like, maybe you can't have both, and I pick my lane and I'm stuck in it. I don't know. Like, I still don't have a
No.
husband, but like I said, I do have hope. And for a myriad of reasons, like I do feel like I can lean more into my feminine energy here, and I just
Yeah.
feel like I show up in a different way. I don't feel like I need to be the boss. I think that what I love about the feminine empowerment of Southern California is that the sisterhood is so strong and it's so beautiful. Like
Mm,
women really take care of each other and watch out for each other and have each other's back. And like my sisters at home in Southern California are a badass, a group of badass women, and I love and respect them tremendously. And they are vigilant, and we take care of each other, and
mm,
I really love the community that I built in Southern California. And I think a lot
mm,
of that is because of these feminist ideals that are like, yeah, we're going to empower each other as women. We're not going to be jealous. We're not going to be competitive. We're not going to compete for the attention of a man. We're not going to compete for jobs. We're
mm,
going to empower each other. I love that. But the
yeah.
other side is that we kind of mull over the men, and then it leaves them in a confusing space of like, I don't know what, do I open your door? Do I not? You can open it yourself. Like, and
Do you
it's a
like
little
me,
confusing.
men, or no? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get that. There is a fine line, where I do love like women bringing other women up and just like a sisterhood, like you said. But yeah, men have to be able to be men. Like I love a strong man. I'm married to a strong man and I love it. It's so I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Ella, you're gonna come back on here when you have your husband from Dallas, and we're gonna have another chat with the travel brand.
I can't wait. No, I can't wait. I'm like at this point because I never thought I would be like 35 and not married. I didn't think that. I really thought I would get married young. That's what I expected. That's what I wanted. And I feel compelled to share that in the sense of if there are any women out there who, or men who feel that way, who are like, man, I didn't always, I really thought I'd have someone to share these travel experiences with.
Mm,
I really thought I'd be sharing my life with my forever person by now. Like, I'm with you. Like, I want to say you're not alone,
yeah.
and I don't think I'm some desperate loser. It just hasn't happened for me.
Yeah.
And I'm unapologetically like sharing my story in the hopes that, whatever situation that you find yourself in, whether it's in your romantic life, your career life, you don't have to stay stuck in it. You can make moves and there
Yeah.
can be a better life on the other side. My
Yeah.
only regret about moving to Texas was that I didn't do it sooner.
See, I like that. I mean, I love Texas and I just also everybody's on their own timeline, you know? I love Austin, I love Dallas. I love Austin and Dallas. Those are probably my two faves. Austin is pretty cool too, you know. And the Cowboys there, let me just say, let me just say again, like travel brats, I love my husband. I don't like any other man. But those hats and those boots, and like when you go down there, we went down there for my brother's wife's bachelorette party before their wedding last year, and we went to a cowboy bar, and like they're all like asking the ladies to dance, like, man, will you dance with me? And then they're like actually dancing. Nobody's like grinding on each other. They're like doing the cool dance moves, and the guys are all these tall, handsome men with their collared shirts and their jeans and their boots and their hats. And I'm like, I just like this. I just like Texas. I was
It's
like,
so
these are
nice.
real men.
Yes, they really are. Like
Yeah.
it's so, like I said, I just feel like I don't, it's so terrible. Like I am like that idiot reel that you see on Instagram floating around, the girl who just doesn't pay attention to her surroundings when she's next to her man. I just feel so safe that I'm just like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like walking into the street. I'm like, who am I? Like I don't even recognize myself. I've like really relinquished my masculinity. I'm really
Oh,
leaning into the feminine and the like airheadedness, because he'll be like, Ella, like stop. Like, and I'm like, I know that you're watching out for me. Like something to my brain just turns off. Okay, this is why you need to keep your teenage daughters away from boys, by the way. Like,
yeah.
what is with this brain? Like, I want to believe I have a pretty competent brain, but something happens with the endorphins and the hormones and the something. I'm
Sometimes,
like, yeah.
sometimes girls just want to have fun. Yeah. I love it.
think. I just
Oh,
think so it's a little embarrassing, but yeah, but I do that, just that strong, it's been really nice. And I have to work on forgiving the men of Southern California because I've been heartbroken by one too many. I shouldn't like throw all the babies out with the bathwater, but
right.
I really want to share that story because I think there is no shame in wanting to find your partner. And
No,
why
yeah.
do we put such an emphasis on our career and act like family is not important? Like anybody
Mm,
who gives me a hard time about me saying like I want a husband and they're like, well, okay, chill out. Like there's other things. I'll say, who are you, did you wait till you were 34 to get married as a woman?
right.
Like
Right.
until you've done that, knowing that you always wanted a spouse, like until you've done that. Because I have some girlfriends who are like, I don't know if I ever want to get married. And I'm
You
like,
know, that's so funny, Ella, because I was one of those people. And like I married my best friend. I knew him for like 6 years, but because of just like the way I like not the way I was raised, but like I had like a freak out 2 months before our wedding because I was like, oh, am I getting married? Like that's super serious, you know? And like I was that girl in college, that dumb girl in college. It was like, oh, relationships are so overrated. I never want to get married. And like I just want to have a career. I don't like start a business. And like guys suck. Like, I mean, I'm not into girls, but I'm not into guys. I'm just like into myself and I'm selfish and like whatever. So that was like so me. And then my life changed so quickly in like 2 years. And like I like fell in love with my best friend because I like he was my best friend. And I was like, oh, wait, no, 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 don't freak out. Like, this is good. This is good. Like this is good. Like, you're gonna love this. Like, you're gonna love being married to your best friend. And so, but I get it because again, you have so much stuff in the world now these days about that, you know? Where the
yeah,
people are like, be a driven woman, have a career. And you're like, well, cool. There's like a 10-year season for that. And then when I want to have kids and like work part-time or not work or whatever, I can do whatever I want. Okay. So everybody else stop judging me. It's my life. Like we said in our last couple episodes, I'm in my own head, not you. I'll do what I want to do.
well, and like it's so funny because you were saying like I was that girl. I'm like, yeah, I've watched all those girls in my life get married. I'm like, you got married before me. How is this possible? How is this possible?
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your super funny, most memorable travel story. I love it. I love that you moved to Texas to find your dream man. I love Texas. You've been great. The Travel Brats love you. So thank you again for just taking the time to come chat with us.
Oh, thank you so much, Sophia.
I'll catch you next time.